The telephone rang. This was particularly unusual because I didn't own a telephone. My new apartment was completely empty save for the 3 or 4 cardboard boxes I had just unloaded from my truck. I looked around to see where the incessant ringing was coming from, but before I could find it, it suddenly stopped. I assumed I was hearing things due to the nerves of the new move. Just as I had relaxed from the tension of the unexpected call, it rang once more. This time it seemed louder somehow, more persistent. I stood in the center of my living room and closed my eyes. I determined it was coming from the wall in front of me. The wall connected to an apartment I was told had been vacant for the last 3 years. The landlord couldn't tell me why it had been empty for so long, but he said any residual weirdness should wear off in a few weeks. I had initially shaken this off as a joke, but the notion that he was being serious sent an uncomfortable palpitation through my chest. I walked over to the wall and put my ear to it. The ringing came at a faster rhythm with each step I took. As I put my ear against the wall to make sure that it was where it was coming from, the ringing ceased again. I stood there, with my ear against the wall, listening to a silent apartment on the other side. Then a huge something had bumped against the wall and made a loud thud against the exact spot my ear was. I teetered back on my flimsy legs, my ears ringing from the shock. Once I collected myself, I took a deep, angry breath and went over to the neighboring door. Maybe the landlord was covering for a squatter or some teens had broken in. I pounded hard on the tattered wood door, forcing the brass number 12 to vibrate on its single nail. I shouted, "I don't know what's going on in there, but I won't hesitate to call the police." The same loud bang happened again, this time on the door. I grabbed the doorknob and to my surprise, it opened right away. With one swift movement, I shut it without looking inside. I hadn't expected it to open so easily. Now that nothing was keeping me from entering the room, I carefully considered my next move. I ran back to my apartment and grabbed a box cutter from the otherwise bare kitchen counter and went back. I held my weapon at attention and pushed past the fear that there would be something unexplainable on the other side. It was a regular apartment, identical to mine. It even had 3 or 4 boxes near the door where I had placed mine. I stood in disbelief, thinking I had made a fool of myself for nothing. As I turned to leave, the telephone rang once more. This time, crystal clear and definitely within the walls of the apartment I was now in. I heard it coming from where I knew the bedroom was, on the adjoining wall of my apartment. I entered the room, and by the time the ringing was so loud I had to cover my ears. It seemed to get progressively louder, so to stop it, I picked up the phone. Muscle memory brought the phone to my ear, and I heard a familiar voice on the other end. It was the landlord.
"Hey there, how are you?"
"I'm fine. How are you?"
"I'm doing well, but I was just wondering when you would be by to move in your things. You said you'd be coming by yesterday."
"I just met with you not 5 minutes ago at the front desk."
"I don't..."
He trailed off. I was unsure whether it was the reception or he had actually finished talking.
"What apartment are you in right now?"
12. I heard a weird noise.
"That wasn't me at the front desk. You need to get out now."
The line went dead. I turned around to leave the apartment, but as I made my way through the small, dark hallway, I was struck by the sensation that I was being watched or followed. I went back to the living room, checking behind me to make sure I was, in fact, alone. I saw nothing, but when I opened the door, I was suddenly in the apartment complex lobby, staring at the front desk and the supposed landlord. I watched him wipe something red from his lips, and his eyes were now fully dilated.
"Welcome, sir. How can I help you?"